bacon. It's Cappening at Capriati Sandwich Shop.
Now back to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Towards the end of last year, those last 3 games with Coach D, I was able to kind of just sit back and watch. I think you see everyone in this building has a smile. I think that's the biggest thing. Coach D always brings a smile to this building, and that's extremely contagious, especially if you're going to go places where everyone wants to. There's got to be a joy to this game, and that's what's found in this building.
There you go, 77 minutes on the clock until kickoff here in Boise. Broncos hosting your Running Rebels. Check that, Rebels. Too many sports being covered by Cofield. By the way, tomorrow's game right here on ESPN Las Vegas, the Running Rebel game against Creighton in the afternoon. But, the Broncos quarterback, Maddox Madsen, I thought that was very telling, talking about why he really likes Spencer Danielson. And you played college football, Griffin, and high school football, and it is no fun when football isn't fun. Basically what he was saying is Andy Avalos, the previous coach, was kind of a yutz, and just the whole environment around Boise football the last couple of years wasn't loose, and there is structure, but Danielson is a guy who has kind of given a lot of players for Boise State their love of the game back, and now UNLV will try to really keep Boise from what they believe is their destiny. I think they can do it, but Boise was anointed before the season by most people around the country who really don't know Group of 5 football, but that they would be the selection from the Group of 5 for the first ever college football playoff. UNLV is a believer because of Barry Odom, because Barry Odom was a believer. Yesterday they had a final press conference. Listen to Coach Odom here as he talks about UNLV, what he believes UNLV should be and right now is.
A lot of it has to do with conversations that Eric Harper, director of athletics, and I had looking at the job. We talked a lot earlier about hope, vision, and belief, and then the process of what it takes to get there. But also, and people are going to look at me a little bit crazy, I believe this is where UNLV should be every single year, in the contention, in winning games in November, meaningful games, competing for championships. There's too many opportunities in the city of Vegas.
Yeah, how many people believe that, right? When we all, not all of us, some were believers, but when he first sat down, he's like, we're here to win titles. And you're like, wow, there's a road to get there, coach. And now he's made the title game back-to-back years, so he believed it. You can tell elements of the conversation he had with Eric Harper before he got the job, because there were standards he set and repeated over and over and over again last year. And a lot of it simply was, hey, don't do what the previous coach did. And I like Marcus Arroyo, but there were some shortcomings like dealing with local high school coaches, trying to recruit locally. There was media relationships, and Odom set out to do that. And then there's the discipline of setting a culture. And there's so many things you could list as to why Barry Odom and his players are here. To win this game, I'll give you some of the keys, I believe, Griffin, that need to be executed. This is how good Ashton Genty is with 2,200 yards plus on the ground. First key is to keep Ashton Genty under 150. 150 yards is a hell of a game for a running back, but keep him under 150. For the 150th time, Jackson Woodard was asked about Genty, and he gave out the basics of trying to slow this guy down.
He's an incredible player. And with somebody like that, you got to be perfect. But going to the game plan, I don't think about one person. I think about the offense as a whole. I look at their scheme, watch film, figure out exactly what my job is on each play. And then, like I said, I got to be perfect. When I tackle them, I got to make sure I get them on the ground.
Like he said a million times, he did a really good job, and he got a bunch of ankle tackles to save big runs, but he got it done. Barry Odom said earlier in the week, and often throughout these matchups, that they need multiple people around the ball, so they're going to try to populate to the ball, get more tacklers around Genty, and finish them off with 2 or 3 players, and not just and it wasn't always Jackson Woodard, but try to get more bodies to the ball. Shutting down the tight ends is gigantic, because it was one of the weaknesses on the Rebels defense, and I think they can do a much better job of this. When Catalan was involved, they had a tougher time. They've got a bigger player in Marcel McDuffie, who did have a broken foot, came back. That was the first game he came back against Boise State in the game that Boise won 29-24, and they got victimized. And a lot of it is McDuffie wasn't 100%. He's the speed guy side to side on the field, and they played some teams with pretty good tight ends, and they did a good job the last couple of weeks. Key number 3 is Jacob DeJesus, who played 7 snaps in this first meeting. Well, if you remember last year, he had 188 return yards on kickoffs against Boise. Now, they took a lot of kickoffs because they were getting their booties kicked early on in the game. But a healthy Jacob DeJesus, Griff, not only helps the return game against a special teams unit that even Boise State coaches admit hasn't been great, but it also should alleviate some pressure from Ricky White, who they can't double as easily if Jacob DeJesus is a very dangerous number 2 option.
Yeah, you gotta count on all fronts with this team with UNLV. You know, it's a great story. Anybody outside of Vegas will probably say, "Oh, that's cool. That's cool." They don't understand the hype. They don't understand this team really. That this team has a lot of deadly weapons. I know they got Jency. I know he's a Heisman hopeful, but this team with UNLV, especially on the offensive side, we got killers, and they're going to see it tonight.
Run game was good last time. I think it needs to be a little better, a little more effective, a little more time consuming. They rushed for 188 in game number 1. I think they need to eclipse 200 yards. Remember, of the 188, 105 was from the quarterback. Those yards still count. Now, one of the runs from Hajj Malik Williams was a 71-yard run, which will lead us to another key. He went 71 yards. They didn't score a touchdown on that drive. So when they're inside the 10-yard line, this is a given in any game, but especially in a game where you can't make mistakes. And you got a lot of power on the other side, a breakaway running back. When you have a big run, you have to capitalize on momentum and finish things out. Hajj Malik has got to play a pretty clean game. No interceptions. His interception at the end of the first half, a lapse in judgment. Can't do that. And then I think one of the biggest ones is going to be get out to an early lead. Try to silence this crowd as much as you can. One last bite here. I think this is really interesting. Football programs win titles a lot based on the culture. You expect to win. So those are the standards every week and every year. Listen to Ashton Genty here talk about the history at Boise State.
It mean a lot to us. I mean, all the work we've been putting in from the off season till now. You know, this place has been built on winning championships, and that's what we do here. So to be another group, a part of that list would be dope.
I like that. But guess what? It'd be pretty dope if the UNLV football program that struggled for a long time got the job done here and won this title. So pregame's coming up in less than 5 minutes. Matt Neverett, Caleb Herring. Thanks, Griffin. Stick around. Game is on the way. A title could be in the hands, a trophy in the hands of UNLV football. Very cool.